what's up guys? Brandon here for RC Flight School. Today I'm taking a look at the S.E.5a from Parkzone. This is a pretty new model that they've released, World War I biplane. You can see it here beside me. This is a pretty popular model as far as World War I biplanes go, the S.E.5a being one of the ones that flew in the war. I've been always a big fan of this plane. I built a lot of models of it in a smaller scale, so I was pretty impressed to see that Parkzone came out with many different versions of it. This happens to be the plug-and-play. So plug-and-play has everything you need except a receiver, battery and charger, and of course a transmitter. The reason we went plug-and-play on this model is because I have the battery size needed for it already, between an 1800 and a 2100 3-cell LiPo. 20C discharge is fine. We have a receiver lying around, and I have a DX6i behind me. So in this case, I saved myself a few bucks. Got this at our local hobby town for $184. Everything you need. We had everything else I need. Really, all that's left is to assemble it, pop in a receiver. So let's open her up and take a look. This thing has a fair amount of hardware on it in terms of scale realism. So I was impressed to see that they went the extra mile to kind of make it look like, you know, you're used to old stick planes made out of balsa and covered with wood. Guys put a lot of time into detail on those to make them look as scale as possible. I believe this plane had some fabric covering on it, so they've kind of gone the extra mile to mold in what looks like fabric covering. What this means to you is you get a scale plane that, when you crash, doesn't cost a scale fortune, if you will. That's what you get in the box. Wingspan's about the length of the box. Let's crack it open and take a look. I'm excited to get this one in the air for filming for you guys because these old warbirds, they fly relatively slow and they're very scale looking in the air, so they're easy to film and they're, you know, pleasing on the eye. Let's crack this open here, get the wings out. They always have quite a bit of safety tape holding these in, making sure that there's no way they get damaged in shipping. Work with me here as I free it from its cage. In this case, they've used fiber tape to make sure there's no way it accidentally falls out. There we go. Oh, even more tape. Well, you can rest assured that if you get this model, it's going to be in great shape. There's no way any of this is coming loose. All right. Wow, just a lot of protection. But I suppose that's what you want to pay for. Okay, well, I got a one wing free. You can take a look at now what I mean by scale realism. They have the rib lines molded into the plane. So usually in real life, this would be the covering kind of sagging between the ribs. This is molded in. It's a solid wing. It's solid EPP, the rubberized foam. But that scale realism is molded in. Same in the front here, these leading ribs, all molded in. We have ailerons already cut out for you and hinged, and it looks like, yeah, all the hardware is installed. The horns are installed. You can see the start of all our rigging to hold the wings on, all pre-installed for you. It looks like just going to be a few screws to put that on. Here's the top wing. Again, all that scale realism added to it. They have your two aileron servos molded in and kind of covered to add, again, to the realism so you don't see a servo sticking out. I believe this would be the fake fuel tank. On the olden days, they had the fuel tanks on the top and they were gravity fed. I may be wrong. You guys can correct me on that. So top wing, bottom wing. Let's get the fuselage out of here if I can. Battle with a little bit more tape. Now, some people might ask, you know, why biplane, or what's the difference of biplane? Well, you get more wing area on a biplane, first of all. It's not all truly effective wing area, but what that means to you is that more lift. When you have two wings, you have a lot more lift. It's allowed to fly slower and with less power. And back in the day, they kind of went with that. That was the theme of the day because they're going for the most amount of lift possible for the engines they had. What it means to us is just a great flying plane. I mean, this thing is going to be slow, predictable, very forgiving. Easy plane. I wouldn't necessarily say this would be your first plane, only because we have so many pieces of hardware on here. Biplanes, when they crash, there's more to fix. I mean, you got two wings, all the linkages between the wings to worry about. I mean, look at all the detail on here. You put this bird in the ground, you'll spend some fair amount of coin or time piecing it back together to make it look as good. But that being said, it's a very well flying plane. So now we can take a look at some of the details on this thing. The scale pipes, scale gun here, the scale sights, even a scale pilot, he's got his little scarf on there, full face, little windshield. I mean, on a foam plane, you just never see this kind of detail. Everything's molded in, even the pilot step right here where he'd step in. And I like this, they got the scale grill in front here to hide the electric motor, and then the props actually molded in brown to kind of mimic the wood props that they used in the day. It's got a scale cut to it. If you look at it, it kind of looks like the olden day props. So again, very cool to see that in the air. It just leads to a much more realistic flight. In terms of power system, I believe we have a 480 outrunner, same motor that's in the Trojan behind me. It's going to be a 20 amp ESC, and servos are in there already. Again, all the servo leads waiting for a receiver. This is a plug-and-play model. And we're going to have quite a bit of hardware. I can pull the bag out for you. I'm not going to bore you with putting this thing together, but you can see all the rigging and hardware in this bag to get the wings on. And we want, essentially what we end up with is the wings would be like this, and you have all the hardware between them, holding them rigid to each other. This thing is capable of probably, I'd say, at least loops and rolls, if not just mild aerobatics. So all the hardware kind of holds that together. The wheels are very scale, and these are actually quite large wheels, so you would be able to take off in grass. Now I'd say the only thing that might hinder you is they have the scale wheel brace on the bottom. I can't show you it here, but they have a wheel brace that goes between the wheels about halfway up. If you have some tall grass, that's probably going to hit it, slow you down, probably going to bring the nose over. You got so much weight from the wings sitting up on top that when you hit the ground in long grass, they tend to flip over. So you may want to keep that in mind when you're choosing your flying field. Oh, here we go. I can actually show you it right here. So this is what I mean by the brace on bottom. You got this bar running across, so really you only have about half your reel diameter to land in the grass. That's a big deal with a lot of people because some of you may not have the luxury of picking your flying field. So when you're picking the model, you may want to think about doing some aftermarket landing gear, make it easier to land in the grass. I got a feeling that if we try this one in any kind of ungroomed grass or semi-cut grass, probably going to have a lot of nose over, and you just don't want to be busting up a nose on such a pretty plane. So something to keep in mind. But that is the S.E.5a. That's as far as I'm going to take it today. If you guys have any more questions, comment below or post up at RC Nightmare Forums. We've got a large forum there. We're adding a section just for planes as our forum expands. We want to kind of tailor to all sorts of people. Otherwise, comment below. Let me know if you have this plane already, if you've done any modifications to it, what you think of it. I'd like to know what you have to say. Thanks for watching this video, guys. We'll see you soon.